And for our final story for this edition of the Rolling Stone, does anybody remember the actress Ellen Page? She starred in Juno, which I remember when it came out. I was actually a freshman in college. That would have been 2007, 13 years ago, which was had a rather pro-life message to it, actually, about a girl who gets pregnant out of wedlock and decides to have her baby with the help of a ruggedly handsome stranger, I think, that she meets in her travels. You might have also seen her from Christopher Nolan's masterpiece, Inception. And after that, really not so much anything else. I think she had a resurgence last year when The Umbrella Academy, the first season, started streaming on Netflix. I think it was last year. But other than that, no, Ellen Page has not really done anything spectacular. It's rather telling, I think, that going back to the fact that she was in a Christopher Nolan movie, and just me personally, I love Christopher Nolan and his movies. I love his directing style and his ideas. It's telling that several actors have worked with Nolan on a variety of projects. Michael Caine has been in every single Christopher Nolan movie since Batman Begins in 2005. Tom Hardy has been in three Dark Knight Rises, Inception, and Dunkirk. Christian Bale, of course, was Batman 3 times, and I think that he and Christopher Nolan both enjoyed working together because Christian Bale actually turned down reprising the role of Batman in Batman v Superman because Christopher Nolan wasn't going to direct. He said, I'll only play Batman if Chris Nolan is directing. Morgan Freeman, again, multiple movies, the Dark Knight trilogy, again. So the fact that Liam Neeson, not Liam Neeson, Cillian Murphy, again, another actor who has been in several Christopher Nolan productions. Ken Watanabe, great, love Ken Watanabe. Another actor who's been in several Christopher Nolan movies. So what I'm trying to say is that Christopher Nolan, not just trying to gush about Christopher Nolan or his movies, which I very easily could, but he seems to be a director that once he gets actors working on a couple of projects, he and these actors both want to continue collaborating together in future projects, which shows, I believe, them recognizing him as the great director he is, and he recognizing them for the great and talented actors that they are. The fact then that Ellen Page was only in one Christopher Nolan movie, it doesn't say anything, but it is suggestive in my mind. And maybe that's me just reading too much into it. But anyway, to get to the point of the story, Ellen Page is no more. Ellen Page doesn't exist anymore. Ellen Page never existed, according to the ideology, because Ellen Page came out as transgender. This is fascinating because just a few years ago, Ellen Page came out as a lesbian. You might have remembered back in August of 2015, during the 2016 primary, she confronted then presidential candidate Ted Cruz in Iowa very angrily. So, which means that she came all the way from California to Iowa to get in Ted Cruz's face about quote-unquote LGBTQIA2 plus XYZ rights. Just earlier this year, as a matter of fact, I made a whole video about this. Was it earlier this year? No. It was last year. Forgive me. It was last year. It was 2019 when she made some splashes again because on late night TV, she publicly eviscerated Chris Pratt because of the church he went to, because the church he goes to is actually biblical when it comes to marriage. And Ellen Page was just eviscerating Chris Pratt, whom he's not my favorite actor in the world, and I've only seen him in a handful of things, but he seems like one of those actors who is genuinely a nice guy. So why in the world you would, well, I know the answer, we know the answer, why she would be publicly shaming him for the church that he attends, for even going to church. How dare he be a practicing Christian in Hollywood today? Only pagans, heathens, and Satanists, or Methodist Buddhists, which I think is what George Lucas says he is now, only they are welcome in Hollywood. But anyway, yes, Ellen Page came out as transgender. She came out as lesbian just a few years ago, and now, just a few days ago, December 1st, again, coincidence. What do you know? Something about December 1st of 2020 is when all the crazy stuff decided to happen again. Ellen Page came out, quote unquote, as transgender because now she is now Eliot Page. She is Eliot Page. And this is partly what she said. I love that I am trans and I love that I am queer. And the more I hold myself close and fully embrace who I am, the more I dream, the more my heart grows, and the more I thrive. To all the trans people who deal with harassment, self-loathing, abuse, and the threat of violence every day, I see you, I love you, and I will do everything I can to change this world for the better. And her quote-unquote wife, Emma Portner, said she was so proud of her coming out. There are so many facets to this story, which, to be perfectly serious, gang, show how deep down the rabbit hole we are going to go before things right themselves and we start to get back up to the surface where the air, the wind, the sea, the sun, the stars, and the moon, all the real things actually are again. Because Ellen Page, I refuse to call her Eliot Page. Okay, she is Ellen Page. The first thing that is of note of this story, however, is how quickly everyone simply started calling her Eliot Page. Here's the headline on NBC News again. Eliot Page, star of Juno and the Umbrella Academy, announces he's transgender. Eliot Page, who currently stars on Netflix's The Umbrella Academy, announced he is transgender and non-binary on Tuesday. I feel overwhelming gratitude for the incredible people who have supported me along this journey, Page, who was previously known as Ellen Page, wrote. That is terrifying, gang, who was previously known. Ellen Page might as well be dead. It is scary how quick that quote-unquote past identity was thrown into the rubbish heap. And how now the story is that Ellen Page was always alive and that she was always Eliot Page. And getting to that, transgender and non-binary, because guess what? Ellen Page now says that her pronouns are he and they. Now, even if you believe that someone can magically change their gender, change their sex, and therefore change their personal pronouns, and that those personal pronouns are sacrosanct, that you cannot question them or anything else. If you believe that, even then, you should be able to raise an eyebrow. You should still have the capacity to raise your eyebrow at the fact that one single individual says that one of her pronouns is a singular masculine pronoun, a singular third person masculine pronoun, while the other one is a plural third person neutral pronoun. They is neutral, okay? It doesn't describe men, it doesn't describe women, because when you say they went that way, there is no indication in the word itself that you're talking about a group of all men, a group of all women, or a group of men and women, right? There is nothing in the word itself. So a third person singular masculine pronoun and then a third person plural neutral pronoun. How do those two go together? They don't. And that's the gag. That is the gag, gang, because now we are so far down this transgender ideological rabbit hole That now people are going to mish and mash whatever they want to create these entirely new identities completely out of whole cloth. Because it is interesting. It is interesting that she didn't come out as a trans man. She came out as transgender and non-binary. Why both? Why both? Why not simply come out as non-binary? Why simply say, I'm not a man or I'm not a woman? Why a transgender non-binary? Because it takes two rainbow identities and puts them together. My cynical nature firmly believes that Ellen Page did this simply to get attention and to revive a career that has been somewhat stagnated because, again, Inception was released in 2010, and then I think, someone please correct me in the comments if I am wrong, but I believe that the Umbrella Academy started streaming in 2019. I think the first season was released to Netflix in 2019, just last year. But between those 9 years, no one really heard of Ellen Page. No one really knew. I mean, again, she was there, but she wasn't appearing in any big movie. She wasn't in any just super uber popular shows. Her career was just kind of there. She was there, and I think people who keep up with Hollywood news, I mean, all the nicks and crannies of it, and not just the big news, the flash, the dazzle, and the lights, they knew that she was there, but again, she wasn't really doing anything huge. Again, she hadn't been in any more Christopher Nolan movies. That is what I believe is what happened. That's the only way that this makes sense. That she was trying to buoy up her own career again by claiming all of these different personalities, all these different identities, as it were. And it's also very telling that she didn't come out as a trans man, because then, again, because if she came out as a trans man, then by transgender ideology, she would have always been a man. She would have been a man, as much of a man as a biological man, but which then means that she would have moved from being a white female lesbian to a white man who is married to a woman. She would have become a white cisgendered heterosexual male. She would have gone from being from the oppressed to the oppressor. That's the gagging. That's why she said that she was non-binary, and why she didn't say that she was a trans man, even though one of her pronouns is he, and she calls herself now Eliot, which is a man's name. That's what this shows. That's personally what this is. Oh, and I also have to love where she says, to the political leaders who work to criminalize trans healthcare and deny our right to exist, and to all those with a massive platform who continue to spew hostility towards the trans community, you have blood on your hands. You unleash a fury of violent, demeaning rage that lands on the shoulders of the trans community, a community in which 40% of trans adults report attempting suicide. Enough is enough. You aren't being canceled. You are hurting people. There it is. She wants to be on the forefront of the movement. She wants to be a revolutionary leader where she shuts up these politicians, where you can't talk about science and biology and reality, because to do that means that you have blood on your hands. There's the censorship coming out again, gang. There's the totalitarianism coming out again, because now, if you oppose this insane transgender ideology, you want Ellen Page to die. That is basically what she's saying here. There is the third leg of the stool. So that is what's happening now anymore. And honestly, let me just say this, gang. This is going to be the future, I'm afraid. Because now that we live in a racialized society, or an intersectional society, where your worth is now determined by how many oppressed identities you can check off in yourself, more and more people are going to start claiming that they are polyamorous, or that they're queer, or that they're non-binary, or that they're this, or that they're that, simply because that's going to be the only way that you can advance in society. And of course, by doing that, it's going to perpetuate this ideology going forward, because more and more people will sign on to it in order just to make a living, just to have a place in society, because no one wants to be part of the vanguard that everyone thinks is not the vanguard, because no one wants to be part of the Titanic when they think that it's sinking, which would be the old way, reality. Everyone wants to be part of the vanguard, whether to be part of a movement, of a glorious revolutionary movement, or simply to make a living and be quote-unquote successful in society. That is what is going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Ellen Page has shown us the future, and it ain't pretty. But I have talked for too long as usual, gang, so I am wrapping it up there. Have a fantastic, wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay free, and I will talk to you all soon. Ciao.